how do you create a life that really brings you joy, with work being part of it? In today's video, I'll talk about a very specific exercise that I've done that helped me figure out what I want to do. Now, I've had videos where I talk about manager method and how I started it, but in this, I want to specifically talk about an exercise that anybody can do. And this isn't just about starting a new business or a side hustle or a completely different life. You can use it to figure out the aspects of what you're doing now and how you may want to tweak them as you think about your career moving forward. Now, this exercise is called Ikigai. Now, this is a Japanese exercise. What this is 4 questions, and they really help you to think about what's at your core. I think this is really important because a lot of times you hear things like, well, this is what's expected of me, or my work wants me to become a manager. That seems like the only option. Or people that think their family, their friends, or even themselves, they feel like they should be doing something else or changing something about themselves, or they feel like their identity is tied up in who they've been. What I like about Ikigai is in these 4 questions, you can really reflect on who you are and what motivates you. So in these 4 questions, and in the show notes, I'll link to a way you can, I'll list these out, and even a form that you can use to graphically go through them, one that I found online. But in this exercise, I did this as part of a group coaching a few years ago as I was trying to figure out, after a career in corporate, I was starting my own business. You often will have a million ideas in your head, but how do you really distill them down? Because it's really important to think about the specific things that you like to do. So in these questions, the first is, what do you love? And this is your passion. So this helps to figure out what really, really drives you. So me personally, as I was going through this, it was helping to see people see things in a different light, in approaches they haven't thought about before. And why I love that in particular is because I've had, this career quilt. We've lived in different places, so I've had to move jobs as some of those moves. I've worked in the world's largest consulting firm. I've worked in Subway, Kmart. So a lot of these experiences, what I've seen is people often have the same challenges, and I love figuring that out. So for you, it may be something like, what do you really love? And this is where it doesn't matter what other people think. This may be in your job, you really love doing things on Excel. You love getting into spreadsheets and doing some of that data. And that may be what you really love. And you may realize as part of this, you don't love the process of getting up and explaining every aspect of that, but you love going through that data. Or you may say, I love spreadsheets, but I also love talking about that and explaining it to other people. So it's really thinking about you and what you love. So writing these notes down. The next is what you're good at, your talents. Now this also, you have to be objective, because thinking about what you're either uniquely good at or what you really feel like isn't just something, so it's not just the one thing that was in the first that you love, but something that you're especially good at. As I was going through this, one of the things that I felt was that I love to write in kind of humorous ways, but like education. So growing up, I wanted to be a playwright. And so I had this unique talent a bit of writing. And it can be uncomfortable to say that. Like I'm saying that now and qualifying like that. I have a talent a bit. But so it really is reflecting on what you're good at. And sometimes that's thinking about what people have said externally to you, what you've had good ratings on. But even just thinking to yourself, like in your heart of hearts, you have a good sense of what you're good at. And if you don't, talking to those around you. And the question of, like, what do you think that something I do that I'm good at? That comment can feel super awkward, but it can be helpful to get perspective from people that you trust. And saying, I'm doing that as part of this exercise to think about my career and what I really like. And so asking that person to give you their honest feedback can be helpful. But even just thinking to yourself and writing those notes. So first, what you love, then what you're good at. The next is what you can get paid to do. So this is one where, like, as I think about things, I love, like I do these videos, for example, like I'm doing this video right now. I don't get paid to do this video. And so I would not be making YouTube videos for me in this quadrant. And so for me, I had to think about starting at what can you get payment for. And so when I started my business, I was really doing fractional work, still doing legal work for companies. But that wasn't in my first 2 quadrants, or at least wasn't in my what I love. What I really love was doing some of these videos and explaining things. And so one thing that I realized I could be paid to do is to do training for organizations and to record these and have accompanying resource guides so that people know what you can do. So for me, it's thinking about, okay, what can you actually get paid to do to build that life? Because for most of us, you do have to earn that living as well. So in corporate, maybe thinking about, okay, using that example. So Excel, like you may love that and you may really love it, even if everybody else is like, oh, Excel. And you may be really good at that. Also being paid to do. That's certainly something that people will absolutely pay for. The last question is what the world needs. And so this is more of your mission. That's kind of what this question gets at. So not just your passion of what you love doing, but something that the world actually needs. In ways you can figure that out are, is this something that's happening? Are there jobs that look like this? Are there jobs at my organization that look like this? Are there companies that are doing this? As I started Manager Method, what the world needs, I felt like there was a big gap, and I did a good amount of research that of like a scalable manager training program where you track it and it is a big event, not just access to a whole bunch of trainings, but having a specific program that is an event at organizations and they can run these follow-up sessions. And so that I felt like was something that the world needed. In this example of like this Excel is this, like if you look at Miss Excel, who's become a friend, she had worked in corporate and she was doing Excel, and she's now has a business where she teaches people Excel in courses and is wildly successful. But she's doing absolutely what she loves. I tell this all the time. You don't have to start a business. It's incredibly hard to do that. And so in corporate, sometimes it's talking to your manager, and as a manager, having employees go through a version of this exercise to think about what are the aspects of their job that they really love, and as they think of a career path, what is a path that works for them? Not just the same old, well, this is the job, the next job title, but thinking about, are there expert roles? Are they into people management? Are there things they can do to mentor others? And so coming up with those development paths. But so this exercise, it can be really powerful. If you've never done this, taking time to go through it and coming up with this quadrant of what you do that really fits in the middle. And these are ways that you can find real joy in the work aspect of life. So feel free to drop in the comments if you've ever done this exercise, if you have questions, and I'll put some additional resources in the notes and in Thursday's Manager Method Minute, tips on how to do this, including how to bring it up as a conversation at work if you're a manager.